All right, we are back again with another Madness interview for today. Today, I actually have a upcoming artist in Anchorage here. Today we have Fidu. How you doing today, Fidu? Go ahead and tell the people.
Man, I can't really complain, man. Life is good. Life is great. I had a pretty good day. Just came back in from vacation with my homeboy. You know, can't really
Definitely,
complain.
I seen that you went to, was it Chicago?
Indiana, Chicago area, yeah.
Indiana, Chicago. Tell us a little bit about that experience. How did that go for you over?
Man, it didn't go as planned for sure. Me and my homeboy went out there, met my family, a portion of my family anyway, and stuff, and got to see some stuff. Didn't get to see as much stuff as we wanted to see, but overall, it was a decent experience though.
It's an experience. I know sometimes it goes up and down like that. Was it a music trip or was it just a regular vacation?
Generally around the 4th of July, all my family get together and just just politic and enjoy each other's company amongst one each other. But this time it was a smaller gathering, and we just just see how each other was doing over the course of time and whatnot. But
Would you say you are a family-oriented person?
definitely, family is what keeps me going. Family is what keeps me motivated, and family is what I was raised on.
Good. So with you, was you from a family that had a lot of siblings?
Definitely, me personally, I only have 3 siblings. My daddy had 8, and my granny got 26 grandchildren. So
26 grandchildren.
yeah, there's a lot of us, and that's just on my daddy's side.
How is it growing up in a family like that?
It's just going on my last vacation was a testament to that. It's hard to get everybody to meet really everybody because there's so many of us spread out amongst a large area and stuff like around like specific areas. Like I said, Indiana and Chicago, we really didn't get to meet my family in Chicago on the north side and on the west side. But it could be tough. It could be challenging. You can come across some family members that they say, oh, he don't fuck with me no more, or he don't really talk to me like that. But it's hard to talk to. I got literally over 100 cousins. Like, that's not an exaggeration. It's hard to keep intimate relationships with really all of them. So it could be challenging, definitely, but it definitely has its benefits.
Wow, that is very interesting. Definitely. And tell us, growing up, what are some of the things that you kind of gravitated towards?
Sports, for sure. My dad was really, really huge on sports. That's how he kept us, basically, I wouldn't say out of trouble, but how he kept us focusing on a direct path. And sports has led me to a lot of different connections and a lot of like the people I'm closest to today. So sports and my daddy a reverend, so he kept us in the church too. So I would say church and sports was definitely the 2 pillars of my childhood.
Your childhood, definitely. What sports did you play? Say football?
I played football, basketball, baseball, and soccer up until I was 14. And then as you get older, those sports get more and more demanding, so I dropped soccer. And up until high school, I played football, basketball, and baseball. Then in college, I played football and baseball. And then after my sophomore year of college, I just played football.
Oh, wow, you played football in college too?
Yeah, football
Wow.
and baseball.
Definitely. What would you say is the difference of playing sports in high school and college?
It's in college. It's a job. I was just looking through some old pictures today, and then the typical camp, like fall camp, is the very beginning of the season. So you got to wake up at 6 o'clock. You got breakfast at 6:30. Meetings at 7:30. Practice at 8:15. Practice from 8:15 to 10:30. You get like a 20-minute break. Lunch at 11 o'clock. After lunch at 12, you have position meetings, and then you have walkthroughs, and then we have another small practice. So after all that is done, it's 5 o'clock, you get dinner. And I went to school in the South, Arkansas and Mississippi, so it's hot. You're pretty exhausted after all those activities, and then you rest for the next day. But really the biggest difference is the time you have to put into it and the studying you have to do outside of the sport and all the things that come with it. Like me personally, I went to HBCU. I went to Mississippi Valley before I went to Ouachita Baptist, and our parties would be on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We have Desi Banks and Young Dolph and rest in peace, and Key Glock would pull up to like our homecomings and shit. They speak to the team, so like there's a lot of outside activity going on. Boosie pulled up to our campus one time, and so there's like, I'll say like, you gotta manage the outside shit, especially if you're one of the people that people know around campus. There's a lot of other distractions, but I would say that's the biggest difference.
How would you say is this balancing education and also being an athlete for school? How do you balance that? How did that work for you?
Typically, it depends on the university. Mississippi Valley was a lot more. Mississippi Valley and the Ouachita Baptist was a lot more understanding of the athletes because they're football-centered schools. Mississippi Valley, Jerry Rice went there, so and we had Jerry Rice's quarterback was on our coaching staff. And then the Ouachita Baptist, they're a Division II school. They're always top 10 in Division II in the country. So the faculty down up to the president, they really understand the football culture and how tough it is to manage both education and athletics at the same time. So depending on the school you go to, they'll really work with you. But it's definitely you really don't have much free time in addition to, especially if you want to talk to some ladies or have like a life outside of school and sports. So it can definitely be challenging if you don't manage your time correctly.
Definitely. I know that. Also, we know that in whatever you do, especially in the campuses and school, especially living from your parents' house from high school and finally getting to live by yourself. Give us one experience that you went through that was hard and difficult for you to overcome, but you overcame, and tell us how that system went.
This is a fun question. My freshman year, I went to Mendocino Junior College. It's in Ukiah, California. It's an hour away from San Francisco. And we moved into these motels called the Discovery Inn. And it's not the Taj Mahal by any stretch of the imagination. So it's where a lot of people that have gotten kicked out of their homes or people that have struggled with drug rehab or anything like that, people that have recently got out of prison, where they move into. So it's where I moved into initially, it was 3 people, 3 men, 1 bed, 1 bath, no kitchen. The kitchen, the stove, and the sink was all right next to each other. So it was definitely a complicated circumstance, and we had over 60 people on the roster, and there was probably 40 people, upwards to 40 people in that one area. So found joy in just being around all of my teammates, where you can just go next door, knock on the door, if somebody want to match, something like that. Weed is legal in California, by the way, if it's any legality issues. But yeah, it was definitely challenging in that circumstance. And just to conclude your question, it was challenging to move out of my dad's house, to move to a situation like that where it's 3 people in 1 bed and in 1 small space, and we just had to. Any people in 1 tight space like that could be challenging for reasons I don't have to go into. But just having the freedom, I noticed I have class the next day. If I want to, I can stay up till 3-4 a.m. And if I want to, I don't have to go to class. When me personally, my dad was in the military, so he was on my ass about being on time, being all that. So for me, coming from a very, very strict household to go into an area that was, how could I put this, complicated. It was with a lot of freedom and not a lot of surveillance. It was definitely a culture shock.
Definitely. So did you have to move states?
Definitely. I left Fairbanks, Alaska, then went to California. So it was much different.
I know, coming from Fairbanks, Alaska, it's not a very big place where it's like a lot of people there or a lot of activities to do. How do you cope with the difference of coming from a small town to a city?
Me personally, I was fortunate that the only people from Fairbanks in my family is me and one of my brothers. So all of my other family outside of me, my brother Rodney and my pops, was from different places. I have family in Gary, Indiana, Chicago, North Carolina, Linton, North Carolina, shout out 1133rd, Georgia, Houston, Dallas. So, and my pops worked for Alaska Airlines when I was younger. So when we was younger, the flight benefits for people that were in Alaska Airlines, their immediate family, they got to travel. It was upwards to 90 trips per year. It's much different now, but we got to. It was one time. It was like I was in the 1st grade. We got to fuck around and go to North Carolina for like 2 days on some like, on some whim shit. Like, y'all want to go to North Carolina on Wednesday? It's Monday. and it's elementary school is not nearly as serious as the higher grades. So we got to do a lot of shit like that to where I got to experience a lot of different cultures and a lot of different cities when I was younger. So that was definitely a blessing to be able to get exposed to those type of environments very, very early on. Whereas to a lot of people in Fairbanks, they only know Fairbanks from when they're born to when they're 18, or some people never really leave. So I got a different experience from a lot of people that were from that area.
What does that mentality kind of mentality gives you, like living where you're from, going, let's say, traveling? After coming from traveling, how does that change? Do it change your mentality?
It definitely does. It gives you a different type of aura, I would definitely say, because anybody from one particular town, if it doesn't matter where it is, if you've only been in one place for an extended period of time or a majority of your life, all you know is what they do in that specific area. So it's definitely given me a wider perspective. I understand people a lot more than the average person that has only been a select few of places. So it's given me a wider perspective. It's given me more patience, and it's given me just more clarity on why people do the things they do.
I know, going to California, how do people react to you when you tell them you are from Alaska and you're a black person?
Man, a lot of stupid shit. I'm just gonna keep it cut and dry. People be asking me stuff like, I think I was at AAU tournament when I was 13, and we was playing this team from Texas called the Rangers in this regional tournament, and they were saying, they smacked our ass, by the way. They was like one of the top 5 team in the country, but they was just saying like, you from Alaska? And they're like, they got black people in Alaska? I'm like, I mean, obviously. And they'd be like, y'all date girls in Alaska? And they was from Texas. That made me kind of hot. I was like, y'all date y'all sisters in Texas? Like shit like that. But do y'all live in igloos is another one. Do y'all have polar bears on the side of the road? You know, just people have a great misconception about Alaska. So, you know, you just have to educate each person that you meet. But being an African American from Alaska, you definitely get some wild questions.
Yeah, because that also was, because I'm a black person from Africa. Obviously, I'm from Africa. Let's know. So coming to America, sometimes it's like we get jokes like that too. They were like African booty scratcher, Zabufu, Mufasa, stuff like that. That is different. So how do you overcome some of those stuff?
Me personally, like I said, just being from a strict background. My dad went to the West Point Academy, so he didn't really play like with us growing up and stuff. So it was just we had to face a lot of tougher circumstances growing up. So subconsciously, I don't really think about stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm immune to tough circumstances, but they were more natural to me than they would be to other people, I could say.
Would you say it's tough on you growing up in a military family? Would you say you get it tougher than somebody growing up in a regular family? And why would that be, if yes?
Definitely, I can't speak to every single household because I haven't been in every single household. But from my experience and my perspective, I've definitely got it tougher than other people from my own experience. Just because speaking to everybody when I was growing up, I had to say yes sir, no sir. I had to be on time when I was younger. I had to conduct myself in a certain way. For the first 18 years of my life, I had to get a military haircut. Like I couldn't. Now I got, you know, the braids. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my Annie a bit. But I had to get the military fade. I'd go to the military barber up on Fort Wainwright in Fairbanks, Alaska, and my dad didn't like me wearing a certain type of clothes when I was growing up. He wanted me to always look professional, clean cut, and not let my clothes dictate who I am. Not saying I agree with that philosophy per se, but that was his philosophy.
Because that's what is. Even if you go for interviews, we have to dress sharp. I think coming from a military family, you have to have discipline. Because me myself, I haven't joined the U.S. Army or anything, but I have been in ROTC, GROTC, in college. I have done all those routes, so I know that even just doing those stuff gave me a kind of discipline and control over myself that I wouldn't have if I normally would have just not done those stuff. Because when I moved to America, my sister's husband was also in the military, so that's how I came to join all those JROTC and stuff like that. So transitioning from college, give me the transition from college to joining, probably going to doing life after college. How, how is how is that different?
It's been much different. I just finished my last semester of college. I would say December I was done. I'm still about to go get my master's degree, doing strictly online. So I'm still in college per se, but
Oh wow, so you're gonna go get masters?
definitely sports management, sports management, and then communication and broadcasting. Looking at getting the two master's degrees just because it's affordable. But it's been much different just because you have a lot more time on your hands. Like I said, how I described the football schedule earlier, it's just even in the off season when you're not playing, it's very very demanding. Not to mention your personal life. You know, you want to do other stuff. You want to travel. You want to talk to your friends, and you want to talk to girls and all that stuff. You want personal connections. But I would say the biggest thing I've noticed is just free time. Like I said, even in the off season, we had workouts at 5:30 in the morning. So I'll wake up and I'll be like, damn, like I don't have much to do right now. We'd have workouts at 5:30, and then I have to go to class at, depending on your class schedule, 7, 8 o'clock, and then you still have depending on the season, spring practice. If not spring practice, you have meetings, and during those times of the day when you're in class and meetings, you have to be on point. You can't really be too high, or if you like to drink, too drunk. You have to be very attentive, very focused, unless you want to lose your scholarship. So you have to be. I'm not saying in my daily life now, I'm not nearly as focused, but I'm really enjoying being not in a system. I could kind of move more how I want to. Not that they controls your life, because that was a choice I made personally, but it's a lot more freedom. It's certainly a lot more freedom. And it's the last thing I'll say is playing football. We have 70, 80, 90 people on a roster, so I went from being around that many people a day, even if it's, like I said, we have one team gathering per day, so in the locker room you're interacting with all these different people on a daily basis, and that was the biggest change. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. I would say that was the biggest change, just being around a large group of people to being around not nearly as many people. Being around a large group of people, you have to get to know different people's personalities, people's tendencies, and just being around a larger group of people, you have to not sacrifice some of your personal traits, but you have to accommodate a lot more people just like they're doing for you. So that's definitely the biggest aspect. It's just not being around nearly as much people.
Definitely, I understand that. Me myself, I was a college athlete for about 2 years. I played soccer in college, and then after that, during that time is when I kind of gravitated towards music. I had a studio in my dorm room, and I was recording people and making a little bit of income off of it too. Tell us how did music came along? I don't.
Me personally, just I'm sure we'll get into this later. When I was in elementary school, I was in the 2nd grade and my mom passed away, so I tried to find a lot of outlets to express myself and whatnot. And 2nd grade is when I started doing poetry, and I love to just write rhymes. I would make music on my phone. I would say it to some of my homeboys. The first homeboy I could think of is Zach Saverai, because he had this little girlfriend, and a couple of my homeboys had these little girlfriends. I would write music for them, write love songs and shit like that, and like subconsciously just doing that over the years, it would be cool. And like fortunately, I came across some mad cool teachers that like allowed me to learn the curriculum in those type of ways. The first teacher I could comes to mind is Miss Davies. She was in the 4th grade, and what's cool about Miss Davies is Miss Davies wasn't even my teacher. Miss Davies let me come to the classroom in like 4th grade, like at lunchtime or recess when my homeboys would be in there and shit. And I would one time they were just like, Miss Davies, you like rap music? Ryan can rap. And then I was kind of nervous and shit. She's like, go ahead and rap. And then I just started rapping and shit. And then she said, I'm not nearly on this nigga level because he's one of the greatest of all time and shit. You're like a little Andre, but like, you know what I'm saying, I have ways and mountains to move before I get to that level. But when I got that invite, I just started doing it more often. And then my 6th grade teacher, Miss Dullen, she introduced learning styles, and one of the learning styles was music. So I always learn my tests because the study guides are very similar to like actual tests. So to remember, I'd write rhymes. To like remember, like I'm trying to just think of a specific example, like just in math, like some of the formulas, I would just remember little rhymes to like jog my memory and shit like that. So subconsciously, I've always been doing music, but getting more serious with it was my last couple years in college. Just my last year in college, I got hurt. I strained my Achilles and almost ruptured my ankle, so I couldn't really do much. So that's when I really got into making songs every other day, every day on my phone. I had this app called Rap Chat, and you know I'd be on Rap Chat messing with the different like auto tunes and making full songs. So, but I've always had a love for music. I've always listened to music since I was very young. My oldest brother is I'm 25. My oldest brother's 41. So he put me on the Tupac when I was 2-3 years old. I'm supposed to be listening to Disney cassette tapes, but my brother would put in Tupac to my shit. And ever since I just listened to just you know R&B rap music, it just stuck with me ever since.
So those are like your early beginnings of when you said you was influencing music. What role would you say your big brother played towards you?
Very instrumental. Me and him talk. We talk probably like 2-3 times a week, and just him being older and him growing up in the 90s and the 80s and shit. Like he's gotten to put me on to a lot of artists and a lot of sounds that I wouldn't have came across if he wasn't there. So he definitely plays a very instrumental part. Even to this day, I still talk to him about my process and what's going on and how I can move forward most effectively, because you know he's been an artist, he's been through all that stuff. So that's another benefit to being the youngest. You get to watch where everybody in your family, the older brothers and sisters, went wrong, where they went right, and then you can add your own little flavor to it, and you can see where they messed up and navigate through the mistakes. So without them, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
That's definitely right. Siblings, it all depends on how the type of family you come in and the type of upbringing that you have also. So in this music that you do, what do you think you bring? What type of vibe or style do you bring to the people that the normal people should gravitate towards you? What do you think makes you special?
I feel like what makes me special is I feel like you can throw on any style of music, any type of beat, and I could sit down and write to it. I feel like I'm very flexible. I can adapt to a lot of different environments, and I feel like a lot of people don't rap about, sing about, or anything that they've necessarily been through. Everything that I put in my music is things I've done or seen. So it's very personal to me, and it's a way I can express myself, and it's a form of therapy to me. So that's why I feel like I bring something different. I bring raw emotions. I bring real authentic thoughts. I think about music 24/7. Sometimes my people think I'm wild because I'll be in the car and stuff, and they'll be like, "Are you okay? Is something wrong?" But like whole time, like you know, it could vary on the time of the day, but most of the time I'm thinking about like lyrics in my head and stuff. My people thought I was always weird because I was singing song lyrics just out loud and stuff. Just at random times, they'd be like, "What you said?" I was like, "Nah, my fault, bro. I was rapping other people's shit, or just like, you know, music flows through my head really at various points throughout the day."
Definitely, I think that's what makes the best of artists, because the more you practice the work, the more you get better at it. And just knowing that you are just coming into the scene not too long ago, what are some things that you see that you think you need to work on or you lack as an artist?
Definitely my getting my own specific voice, my flow. And I have to be able to adapt to different environments and working in different places. I would say I've been spoiled in a sense, because like when I started taking music seriously, my cousin been doing music. Shout out Sauce Man Belafonte um, in North Carolina. His name is Brian Tyler. My government name is Ryan Taylor. So we were very close growing up, and he went to school for audio engineering and stuff. So I got very, very comfortable with his music intellect is very, very high. So I got very comfortable to the environments we would be around and just specific shit, just like the feel of it, you know what I'm saying, the way it was structured. So I gotta get used to being in different type of environments and being productive. Definitely not just being in environments I'm used to.
As an artist, everybody has a fear of not probably getting to where they want to get to. Is that something you also worry about? And what ways do you go by it?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say I have any fears of not getting where I want to, but it's definitely I definitely have a different type of motivation, I would say. But the word fear of not like getting where I want to, that doesn't necessarily cross my mind. I do have certain when things don't go the way I want to in certain sessions, I definitely have a sense of frustration and damn, maybe I'm ass, but not necessarily fear.
So where do you get your motivations to overcome that?
Just you know, with keeping stuff on the surface and stuff. You know, I was raised in a single parent household. You know, things is tight right now. People in my family, there's other people in my family that people depend on. It's not solely just me, but I always you could say one of the brighter spots in my family, along with other people. But really just, man, like I seen my dad do the impossible. I seen him get through very, very, very tough circumstances. So, and being around that every single day, being in their household, it's just like, man, like I didn't see a man quit. So like what I look like quitting, or you know, just stuff like that. There's people in my family in tough circumstances, and I want to do it for them. There's people, shout out Real Visions. They believed in me and gave me opportunities and been very, very flexible with me. So, you know, the people that believed in me, I wanna show, you know, y'all believed in me for the right reason. So I feel like it's mad selfish if like other people invest in you and you just like half-assing this shit. That's selfish as fuck. So like I'm not with that. When multiple people believe in you, it's disrespectful to them if you go half-ass. So that's mainly my motivation.
Just knowing that people say, because that happens to me too, just knowing that people believe in you this much gives me the motivation. Sometimes in the back of my mind I'm like, man, I have to make this thing work somehow, because if I don't, I'm letting all these people down that believe in me and they're watching me. And that kind of puts some type of pressure on me. Is that anything that goes, do you deal with any of those type of circumstances?
Definitely. More so previously, when I was like, you know, a year or so ago than I do now. Because the people I've talked to is just saying, man, we believe in you for a reason, so you can't be, especially in music, you can't be tense. You have to be free flowing, you have to be, you know, just as relaxed as possible. Or I mean, some people work better under stress. Me personally, like, my mind has to be free and whatnot. So if you think about messing up, you're bound to mess up. So me personally, I try to think about that less and less. But definitely in the past years of my life, that was definitely something that I would say messed me up, because I said, man, like when I mess up, I'm not messing up for me, I'm messing up for other people. But I had to stop thinking like that, and I just had to keep tunnel vision and just stay focused to the goals that we have ahead.
Definitely. What type of music do you bring to the people, would you say? What kind of genre do you?
Definitely, as of now, rap is definitely my strongest suit. I could also make R&B music. That's where I'm trying to venture off into at the moment. I could, so far as like the lyricism to R&B, I could definitely bring that to the table. I feel like my lyricism in different type of genres is very strong. Just bringing the voice and the soul to it is the part I'm working on right now. But truthfully speaking, I feel like when I hear different type of beats, there's not much that I cannot do as of this moment from what I've seen.
Definitely, because as an artist, you vibe off for different sounds and
Definitely.
that the sounds going.
I feel like that's what separates me from a lot of people. I can adapt to different sounds and different type of artists. Because working with different type of artists, they have different processes and different sounds they bring to the table. So I feel like that's where I separate myself.
I know. I know you talked about in your music, you like to talk about your life story and keep everything authentic as possible. How is it? How is you coping with like knowing that this generation, mostly the music that comes out is speaking about violence mostly? How do you keep tame and just keep to writing about your stories and not gravitating towards the violence?
I definitely try to keep that in mind. I definitely have some songs where, I'm talking about situations that are, particularly violent. But me personally, I try not to be a violent person, so I try to gravitate towards, a different type of sound, depending on the people I'm working with, depending on the mood I'm in. But me particularly, like, I don't want to convey that message that type of lifestyle is sustainable. That's why in my lyricism, if I am talking about those type of things, I try to be specific as to the mindset I was in at the moment and why that's not sustainable. I could do a better job of it for certain, but that's how I try to, get away from it. If I say I did X, Y, and Z, I'll go through the mindset of I was in this mindset at the time. I was unstable. I was young. I was, not all the way there. I was going through X, Y, and Z at the time. So that's why I did X, Y, and Z.
And it could even be like art, like
Definitely.
creating somebody else's story. It's
Definitely.
like movies. Sometimes they are not all real, but we.
I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like music is an expression of art. And if you look at a lot of directors and scriptwriters, they didn't live nearly the things that they're writing. Not saying that's what I do, but they're just painting a picture of reality in certain places. And I think that's also what goes into being a musician as well. Just painting realities of certain pictures that you wouldn't think like, damn, I wouldn't have thought about that like that.
Definitely. And in the music right now, who are some of the artists? Are you working with any producers?
Yeah, shout out to It's Frosty. Me and Frosty recently got connected. Frosty's from Memphis. It was a genuine connection from the start. It's a fairly new connection, but Frosty is definitely the producer I'm working with at the moment.
Why is it Frosty? How did the connection come about?
Man, he just came by one time. Me and my homeboy was at some of our other homeboys' house. We just came through when he was here, and he just started playing some beats and just started getting off to him, writing different parts of songs to different type of beats, hella beats, and I got his number shortly after that, and me and him talk. We don't go 2 full days without talking, and just when we talked, it was just like we just clicked from the start. When I said I went to Mississippi Valley, he's from Memphis, and Memphis is literally 40 minutes from Mississippi Valley, so I feel like we had a connection through that aspect. But I don't know, we just hit it off on the right foot. We noticed something special in each other. I noticed he got that shit with the beats. He noticed I got that shit with the music. So, in addition to our personalities vibing and us getting along, that's just how it happened.
I'm a very firm believer of that because I feel like working with producers, you guys have to actually have a connection and a vibe. Because if that's not there, then the music won't flow as natural as possible. Is there any of the new sounds you're working on that you are gravitating towards that you wasn't doing before? Because I know as artists, we all as we go, we branch off to learning many other stuff. What are some stuff that you are learning lately that you would say that you see improvement in?
I would say just being around a lot of different artists, like even like yourself. You make like Afro style music, and just even if it's subconsciously, just hearing you play, your some of your sounds, it's just I'm thinking subconsciously about different type of sounds. My brother was playing me some Larry June. Well, Larry June remixed some old school beats. Bruno Mars remixes a lot of old school classic beats and shit. So just being around different people that listen to different sounds is like, especially like when you start taking music seriously, you start to have a different ear for it. So just listening to those different type of sounds, I would say I'm definitely expanding my horizons because the most successful artists are versatile. They can like my boy Flip said, Becky in Ohio should be able to listen to your shit, and Trina from Atlanta should be able to listen to your shit. So I've kept that shit in mind, and just when I'm going forward, whenever I'm around any type of music, I try to really relay that into my music.
Yeah. Talking about Flip, how did your relationship with Real Vision started?
I met Flip and got to put on the Real Visions through Brandon. My homie Brandon, he had brought me into the circle. You know, I'm very appreciative for them. One day I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I just came over here. You know, I'm looking around and shit. I'm trying to, like, you know what I'm saying, scope the scene, see what's going on. But, you know, I just came over here one day and then just haven't stopped coming over here. You know, I feel like we got off on the right foot, you know, very, 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 very suddenly. And, you know, them people just showed me a lot of different shit. We went to the Scrappy concert. I got the opportunity through Real Visions to be on the stage with Young Jock, filming some of his shit. So, like, you know, they just provided a lot of connections and opportunities. And, you know, since then, we've been rolling. We got a lot of big shit coming over. Stay tuned.
Definitely. So in the music, every time as you grow, like me as an artist, as I was starting to, I wanted to always grow as time goes on. But there's certain places that I feel like, man, this is what I like, and if I had this, I would be somewhere else. I would be on another level. What are some of the things that you think that if you had right now, your career would be a lot more easier to go forward?
My melodies for sure. Not everyone's gifted with the ability to sing, but shit, if I'll be practicing my shit in the car, like just singing along to different melodies and shit. But if I got my melodies more down packed, so far as like going over to the R&B side, being able to sing my shit more like smoother, more like appealing to the ear and shit, I think that's definitely like some shit that could take my shit to the next level. Having different overtones in the back when you're singing the melody, and then you're just singing shit over it to make the song, like, you know what I'm saying, kind of flow more smoother. I think that's something that I've definitely been working on, but when I get it down, it's definitely something that's gonna take it to the next level.
Definitely. And I've seen, because me myself, I have listened to some of the work that you've been doing, and as you've been going, you've been improving a lot. And tell us a little bit about, have you been watching the local scene?
Definitely. You know, I listen to the Duckman, Ted Tarantino. Forgive me if I'm saying his name incorrectly, but it's Two-Tone. Is it AG Two-Tone? Yeah, AG Two-Tone. That nigga's tough. You know, I've been listening to, just being in the music scene down here, I feel like I should get more like familiar with some of the artists around. He don't make music at the moment anymore, but Ski Team Joe. There's a lot of like yourself, Don Pelly. There's a lot of dope ass niggas out here. So like, I try to take different tidbits and different information from literally every single artist, like what they do well, no matter what it is, down to the melodies, down to the way they're coming on the beat, if they're coming on the 2, on the 3, on the 1, the way they ride the melodies or anything like that. So those are some things I definitely been, you know, that have benefited me from being tapped into some of the local artists.
Definitely. And tell us some of the stuff you would like to do in the local scenes. What are some of the stuff, maybe is it performance at certain locations? What would be something you would like to accomplish as an artist in this city?
Just to get people to know me, connect with as many artists as possible. And I forgot to mention the last segment, Ricky Black and EMC Green. Those are a couple other people I listen to, but just being able to connect with other artists in the area and to earn their respect as a musician and as a person, because if you connect with somebody as a person, the work you do will be a lot more seamless. So just those things, getting respect as a person and as an artist, and building genuine connections.
Definitely, that sounds beautiful, man. Man, it was nice having you today. But before we go, is there anything you would like for the people to know?
Man, just know we got some big shit going on right now, man. Real Vision's the label. You know what I'm saying? They gave me an opportunity to shine. I definitely want to give them a shout out every single where I go. I just want to let y'all know, man, there's some big shit coming on. So y'all boys stay tuned, and when you know, you're going to know.
Yeah, definitely. Nice having you today, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.